Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and there's so much going on. I just came out with the video breaking down Ron Rivera getting fired, the good, the bad, and the ugly with that whole situation. And now, like at the same time, and I think that's a great thing. We're going to talk about why. But mixed in with that Rivera news, it kind of got overshadowed a little bit. The Washington Commanders, Josh Harris has went ahead and hired Golden State Warriors mastermind Bob Myers and elite Vikings team builder Rick Spielman as advisors in the GM, general manager, and HC head coaching search. I'm super excited, man. And just to warn you, just to go ahead and give you the big time heads up, I'm going to emphasize this throughout the video. We are not bringing these guys in to be GMs or even to necessarily be like the president of football operations or anything like that, like what I thought we may end up hiring Donna Ponte to do, but I'm not sure if we're going that direction. These guys are literally coming here to be advisors as a part for Josh Harris to build this team the right way. This guy is humble. He's not coming in as an owner just assuming he has all of the answers. He wants strong advice. He's willing to pay real money to basically give these guys and appoint them as consultants in how to build the Commanders the right way. I'm super excited. We're going to break down everything Bob Myers and Rick Spielman. We're going to break down why this is such a great idea from Josh Harris in every way possible. But before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. We're bringing in two very highly respected, prominent executives from both NBA and the NFL. I'm super excited. You know, Josh Harris is making his crossover from the NHL and the NBA to the NFL. And he's like, hey, man, whatever helps, please let them help. And I'm super excited because we're also already reaching out to Jim Harbaugh's agent. We're requesting interviews with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. I'm doing a separate video on that as well soon after this one. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm coming to y'all with all of the content that you need for everything, breakdowns and everything going on. We're still doing live streams as well, even though that the season is officially over, the regular season. This off season looks like it's going to be very exciting. The most optimistic I've been about a burgundy and gold off season since I've been alive, because again, I wasn't alive to see any of the Super Bowls, and I'm super excited. I think we're truly we're here on the ground level of us building up a Super Bowl contender. So stay tuned, because I'm gonna have y'all updated on everything. Without further ado, let's get it. Well, first of all, Josh Harris has reportedly been interested in implementing an organizational structure that is more common in the NBA. Hire a president or vice president of football operations and then having a general manager and head coach under them in the hierarchy. This has not been confirmed by Harris, but that question should be answered very soon. So be on the lookout for that. We may not even hire a GM first. I know we're really excited about this whole Ben Johnson and Jim Harbaugh thing. Again, I'm working on a separate video for that soon after this one. But even before we hire the head coach, we got to hire the GM. And it sounded like even before we hire the GM, we probably have to hire a president or a vice president of football operations to oversee even all of that and to be even above the GM, or at the very least adjacent to the GM, and they work together in tandem with Eugene Shin, who's already here as well. Don't forget Eugene Shin. But let's get to the breaking news. The Commanders are hiring one of the best in sports, luring two-time NBA Executive of the Year, Bob Myers, to the NFL to help run their franchise. Complete bombshell. This is coming from Ian Rappaport himself. A four-time NBA champion, Myers built the Warriors dynasty before stepping down to work in TV, and now he's gone to the NFL. Bring any of that Warriors foresight, scouting, good luck, whatever you want to call it, bring all of that to burgundy and gold, because we need every bit of it, including the good luck part of it. And the statement from Bob Myers, before we dive into who Bob Myers actually is and what he'll be doing for us and why I'm so excited about these hires that we have made, He said, "I've been fortunate to know Josh Harris for many years, and this commitment to building championship caliber teams is what drew me here. I'm telling y'all, Josh Harris is going to be the magnet that brings a lot of great minds together." Again, Eugene Shin, I did a full over 30-minute breakdown on him and why he's so important to this organization and how the teams that he's touched with his analytics, both on the field and off the field, as far as personnel decisions, whether you go for it on fourth down or not, all of that type of stuff. The Ravens are the number one seed and the best team in their division and arguably the best team in football. You have the Miami Dolphins, who folded that last game against the Bills last night, should have won their division, but it is what it is. And then you have the Jaguars, who also folded, who should have been in the playoffs. But just 3 weeks ago, all three of those teams were division leaders in their respective divisions, and Eugene Shin played a big part in all of those guys. The Ravens even admitted that since Eugene Shin has been gone, they still use a lot of his analytical models for a lot of the decisions that they make both on and off the field. So that's a guy that we already have in the building before all of this. And then you throw these guys in here as well. Again, Josh Harris is going to be a magnet for a lot of smart minds. We're going to be a free agency destination, but even before then, we're going to be a smart mind destination. Again, we have so much capital to work with the draft picks and the cap space. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but man, we're really going to be that go-to destination, the place that people want to work for. Like, if we do end up actually getting in contact with Ben Johnson, being able to interview him, which again I'm working on in a separate video, it's quite likely that Ben Johnson, not only do we want Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson may want to work for us. I mean, that's the type of environment that Josh Harris is building here. Again, from Bob Myers himself, his commitment to building championship caliber teams is what drew me here. And even though he doesn't have one, you can tell that he's very hungry for one and is willing to do whatever it takes, including these hires, which I'm going to talk about, because these guys have job titles that other NFL teams just don't have. Josh Harris is not cheap. He's willing to spend whatever money it takes to make his team that he owns better in any way possible. And it looks like he's even doing getting off to a better start with us than he even did with the Sixers or his hockey team, man. That's incredible. Continuing with Bob Myers, in my experience, championship infrastructure begins with a strong ownership group that prioritizes culture and invests in attracting the industry's most talented and innovative leaders, basically including myself. He basically gave a compliment to himself, but I'm cool with that. In speaking with Josh and his team, it's clear that they would do everything it takes to build out a world-class organization, one that can win on the field and make a positive mark in the DMV community. This is all music to my ears. I'm just in heaven right now. This is the type of opportunity that really inspires me, and I look forward to contributing to the next chapter of this storied franchise. That is such a beautiful quote and a huge compliment to what Josh Harris has going on, man. Welcome to the team, Bob Myers. And if anything, us as a fan base, we're just so happy to have you. I'm super excited, though. David Aldridge already tweeted out that he expects Myers to be around the Commanders for a while, and not just during this search process, which is the main reason he was brought here, and not even necessarily to run the team, but to be a part of how Harris puts his football operations group together. I'm super excited. Shouts out to Grant Paulson for also bringing this up. A lot is being made of Bob Myers crossing over sports. He's not calling plays. He's advising on the search. Let's go ahead and emphasize that right now. Let's go ahead and separate the two. It's not like Bob Myers is coming in here and telling you which quarterback to draft. He's here to help you find the guy that's going to make the right decision on which quarterback to draft, who to get in free agency, who to get in the draft. Do we trade up for Caleb Williams? Do we trade back? Do we stay where we are and take whoever's there? That's what Bob Myers is here to do, not to make that exact decision directly, but to find the guy that can make the right decision in those situations. Let's go ahead and get this out the way. He's going to help them assemble an organizational structure and find the right football people to run this thing. The right football people. I know he's a basketball guy, but he has great expertise in finding the right guys to make the right decisions in their respective sports. He'll sit in on meetings with the GM and head coaching candidates, and I love that. Also, shouts out to Craig Hoffman for pointing this out. This is a gigantic holy crap hire. If you think of people who have built great coaches in sports recently, you can't do much better than Bob Myers. I completely agree wholeheartedly. I'm super excited. Adam Schefter, when he tweeted it out, he said, in a sweeping overhaul along with Adrian Wojnarowski, however you pronounce his name, the guy that's always on top of stuff with the NBA as well. Both of the breaking news guys, both respectively in their different sports. Commanders owner Josh Harris has hired two prominent executives, former Warriors GM Bob Myers and former Vikings GM Rick Spielman, to assist his group in searches for a new head of football operations, GM, and coach. I'm super excited. And this is cool because now we have Magic Johnson and Bob Myers, two big-time NBA minds, helping to build this NFL franchise. So I love the fact that we're just collecting a lot of championship pedigree, great minds and stuff like that, and it's going to be NBA and NFL, the greatest minds from both sports, trying to make the Commanders the best that they can. It's weird, it's new, it's unique, and I'm super excited because I think it's going to work out very well for us. Everything else we've tried before hasn't worked. Let's try this new thing. This is probably the most different, the most unique in NFL franchises ever been built, and I'm super excited to see how this experiment goes because I'm very optimistic about it. And man, I can't wait to get to work, man. And then you have Rick Spielman, who was brought over. He has 30 years of executive experience overall, 10 years of GM experience. He spent time with the Bears, Lions, Dolphins, and Vikings, all teams that were better than us this year. But then again, it's kind of like who wasn't better than us this year. But also notable players that he drafted. You have guys like Percy Harvin, Adrian Peterson, Harrison Smith, Sidney Rice, along with a lot of other guys that he oversaw and helped hire and bring to Minnesota. Rick Spielman hired, now we do need to point this out, Mike Zimmer at one point in Minnesota as the head coach. And I'm not saying that he'll bring in a Zimmer guy, like a guy like Mike Zimmer that didn't work out, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has an influence and probably tries to get Josh Harris and company to bring in a hard-nosed, defensive-minded head coach like a Jim Harbaugh. If it's up to Rick Spielman, we're more likely to hire a Jim Harbaugh type of guy that's going to be defensive-minded and things like that. Again, I'm not expecting him to bring in literally a Mike Zimmer or literally Mike Zimmer himself, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go defensive-minded head coach. And if we do, Rick Spielman will probably be one of the main reasons that we do. But I'm super excited about both of these hires, man. Shouts out my boy Mason Kinahan for pointing this out. Sounds like Bob Myers and Rick Spielman are going to be a part of the advisory board that will help make the hires of director of football ops and the head coach, GM, all of that type of stuff. We're not exactly sure what their exact roles will be, and I'm really excited to see what their exact titles will be because that's going to say a lot. But I'm super excited. The Commanders came out and gave a statement themselves and said, as we look ahead, we recognize the results this season were not good enough, and a strategic shift in leadership and approach is necessary. Alongside my partners, I've assembled a small advisory committee to assist me in identifying two important roles for this organization: head of football operations and head coach. So that's what it sounds like. We won't necessarily maybe have a literal GM. His title will probably be head of football operations and then his head coach after that. I asked Mitchell Rails, Irvin Magic Johnson, and David Blitzer, as well as Bob Myers and Rick Spielman, to join the advisory committee that will work with me to make the best decision for this franchise. That's a really deep group. I'm super excited. But as you notice, we haven't seen Martin Mayhew has been fired. Marty Herney hasn't been fired. Well, let me explain. Don't flip tables. Don't just assume that everything's going down the drain. They're on the way as well, along with Ron Rivera. There's going to be a little bit later. The Washington Commanders are not firing executives Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew like most fans were expecting. Right now, though, as of now, they are not fired. Again, give me some time to explain. They will be retained until the search for a new head of football operations is hired. Harris was reportedly leaning on Herney for information on the organization recently, so Josh Harris has used Marty Herney quite a bit lately anyway. The Commanders' current front office, including General Manager Martin Mayhew and Executive Vice President of Football and Player Personnel Marty Herney, will remain on staff through the search process. That's it. The new head of football operations and head coach will determine their long-term futures with the Commanders, team officials have told ESPN, and I'm pretty sure they won't stick around. I mean, maybe Marty Herney stays around in some really small capacity, but we already have too many guys, too many hands in the pot, too many guys sitting at the table right now. With Eugene Shin, we just hired Bob Myers and Rick Spielman. Magic Johnson's going to have an influence. We already have too many guys around. Dave Blitzer and all of those guys. I just don't see at the very least, Martin Mayhew sticking after we hire the head of football operations and the head coach and all of that. He'll help bring that guy in, I guess. He'll help advise it, but he won't last after that. And I'm not even exactly sure why we're keeping Martin Mayhew to do that. And then Marty Herney, maybe he'll stick around, but I doubt he'll stick around with the current title. If anything, he may take a demotion. I don't think he'll have much influence over what happens. I think they're literally just here to help advise, but you're not hiring Bob Myers and Rick Spielman and giving them all of this money just for Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney to run the advisory show either. Those guys will probably have like the least amount of power in who we bring in. But Josh Harris, hey man, this guy's like, I'll take any help anywhere I can get it. And since these guys are already here, I might as well use them up for the information that they have and the expertise that they have. But they're probably on the way out as soon as we bring in the guys. Shouts out to Greg Paulson for also pointing this out as well. Josh Harris is making all of the right moves. You know this because he's doing everything Dan Snyder never did. Again, everything we've done previously never worked. Let's try something new. I don't care where they're coming from. I don't care if we're bringing in rugby executives. If they know how to build a franchise and they can help the Commanders become a better organization, bring them in. I want them. Stuck to his word and gave Rivera the full season. We gotta respect that. Now he's hired 2 credentialed, revered organization builders to find his GM and head coach so that he's not the one calling the shots. I love that, man. For several coaching searches, Dan Snyder will run these searches and do a lot of this on his own with Vinny or Bruce. Today, Harris has assembled a group including Myers, Spielman, Magic Johnson, and others to help find his guy. Because I love the fact that he's humble enough to do this, man. I absolutely love it. There's absolutely, shouts out my boy BGO, my boy BG Obsession. He pointed out the fact, and I completely agree in the point that I was about to make. There's an absolute absence of ego in how Harris is beginning right now. Most owners, especially new ones, and that boy Dan Snyder boy, would feel compelled to make all of the big decisions themselves. It would never occur to them to bring in guys who are smarter, savvier, and more experienced to lead the way. All of this is anti-Snyder, the complete antithesis to what Snyder tried to do here. Also, shouts out to JP Finley for this one. Very important for Commanders fans to understand. Sources make this clear that Bob Myers and Rick Spielman are advisors to Josh Harris. They are not the new full-time hires to be like the football operations, GM, all of that type of stuff. Just simply advisors. I want to re-emphasize that again as well. And again, when it comes to Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, and those guys, the new head of football operations and head coach will help determine the long-term futures for those two guys. And again, for reasons I've already stated, I doubt they stay around. Shouts out to Al Galdi for this one. I would not read anything into Josh Harris retaining Martin Mayhew or Marty Herney for now. The idea is for whoever is running the Commanders football operations moving forward to decide on everyone. So whoever this group of advisors decide to pick as the guy that's going to run the show, he's running the show. Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney are quite likely gone after we find that guy, but they are here for now because, again, Josh Harris is looking for any piece of expertise and information, any ideas on who could make the best hire and all of that type of stuff. I'm super excited, man. Al Galdi continues to say, and I completely agree, I fully expect that the person that they end up bringing in to do that is going to take a sledgehammer to the current staff, and we're starting all the way over, top to bottom, entirely new coaching staff and everything. As much as I love even our running back coaches and guys like that, I think we're starting over in every way. Because say you bring over, for example, a Ben Johnson, he's going to want to bring over Mark Brunell as QB's coach, so Ken Zampese is gone. He's going to probably want to bring over Antoine Randall as receivers coach. He's going to probably want to bring over his own running backs coach and tight ends coach. He's going to try to bring as many people from the Lions as he can. So, hey, man, I'm thinking we're going to literally be a completely different team top to bottom, and like I've said, this is going to be the most different the Commanders have ever looked going from one offseason to the next in my lifetime. Again, I wasn't here to see the Super Bowls, so this is the most optimistic I've ever been about a burgundy and gold offseason in my life. I'm super excited. If y'all can't already tell, just know I'm super excited. But this goes back to what I have been saying for a while now. He is hiring people to positions and titles that are not normal at all. Like, these are not necessary hires. He's bringing in a board of advisors. Who else is doing that? Like, these are probably some first in the NFL right now. Again, Eugene Shin is the SVP of football strategy, and he's going to head all analytics and things like that. And he'll probably make his own little hires underneath him after everything everything is said and done, after all of the dust settles, everything falls into place, he'll even have probably some analytics guys to help him under him. But you have him doing that. You have Tim McGrath, that he's not even the head athletic trainer. We literally just brought him in here to be the injury consultant guy that looks at it from the science view and has his own technology company and consultant company that does things like that have helped different teams in different countries. Basically, as far as injuries go, how long should it take for a guy to come back? How do we get them back in? And also, what do we do as far as movement goes and practice and diet so that we can prevent further injuries? And he's not even a head athletic trainer. He's just a guy that we're giving money to literally just do that. I don't think any other NFL team even has a guy like a Tim McGrath on the organization right now. And then now you have these two huge hires just to help find the right guys, to find the right football operations GM guy and head coach. I mean, this man, Josh Harris, like I've been saying for a while now, seems to be willing to throw money on wherever it needs to be thrown just to make this team better. And he's already exceeded my expectations that I had just from videos I was doing just a few days ago, man. This guy is like, man, I don't care, man. I'm not going to be any type of stingy with my money or anything, any type of cheap, frugal, with whoever can help me turn this team around and turn them into a Super Bowl contender. I'm throwing money at them, even if we have to make up random titles for these guys that have never existed in the NFL. Here's a bunch of money, please help me, type of thing. He's not doing the bare minimum. He's not going cookie cutter. He's like, whatever it takes. I'm super excited. Shouts out to Kevin Sheehan for this quote as well from the ESPN story. In a search that will commence immediately, Myers will take a lead role in identifying and coordinating interviews with candidates for the top NFL football operations and head coaching jobs, with Spielman set to work closely next to him. So Bob Myers kind of like the top. Rick Spielman's probably second. Then you have like Magic Johnson in there somewhere with Dave Blitzer, and then Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew are probably at the bottom, also contributing. I think Martin Mayhew's probably at the very bottom. But one thing I think that's really important that a lot of people aren't probably noticing right now, this is incredible that this didn't leak way before this. They were able to hold on until this news, until Rivera got fired, and threw this news in with it so that, you know, Rivera being fired wouldn't be this big thing that's going to probably be embarrassing to him and his family. They managed to work in some of this, you know, it's positive news for his fans, but just overall, it's still kind of like a negative thing when somebody's getting fired. And they held all of this information, didn't allow it to leak so that all of this can come out at the same time. That's incredibly impressive, man. I mean, this has probably been in place for a while now. Like, this is probably something that's been here for like weeks, maybe even months, where they've already known, like, yeah, man, Bob Myers, when this season is over, you're coming over to help me. Or maybe he's already been helping. And it's incredible that with Adrian Wojnarowski and Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, all of these guys, nobody knew anything until just now. I mean, this team, you know, we've had all kinds of leaks in the organization and things like that. This is incredible that they managed to keep this on the low, to keep it on the hush-hush this long until they were ready to announce it. This is a professional organization, people. I mean, this is crazy. I'm truly believe this has been in the works for a while, and they were just ready to just go ahead and announce it now the way that they did. The fact that they have control over the narrative like this and over leaks, that means everybody's bought in. There's not just this one random person that's willing to leak information for their own benefit. Everybody is bought in to the Commanders organization being great. I don't think y'all understand how much us not having leaks in the organization truly shows that we're one cohesive unit really trying to get this thing going. And I also love the fact that we're being proactive and not reactionary. We are on it immediately, like literally the day after Ron Rivera's birthday, which I truly believe we waited to fire him until after his birthday. We didn't want to fire him. We wanted to be professional, wanted to be nice, and not fire the guy on his birthday. We worked in all of this and we're immediately ready to go. And again, I believe a lot of this stuff was already in the works since weeks or maybe even months ago, and they're ahead of the game, man. We're not only are we being innovative, which Josh Harris said, and I've been telling y'all in videos, Josh Harris will be innovative. He'll do things people have never done, and he's already exceeded my expectations as far as that goes. But I'm pretty sure he's been on this even while we were losing. He saw into the future, like I was doing with my videos, and saying like, hey man, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, just be patient, we're about to be on it. And again, they've exceeded my expectations, man. I'm super excited. We've already been getting reports about Josh Harris wanting to think outside the box. Well, there you go, thinking big time, way outside the box, boy, all the way outside of it, man, not even in range. And I'm not gonna lie, when we start to conduct interviews, that room is probably going to be really intimidating for a lot of people, man. When it comes to head of football operations, and then after we hire that guy, he's going to be added into that room when we're hiring GMs. I mean, that's more people in a room than normal. Usually it's only a couple of guys, and then not only is it a bunch of people, but it's a bunch of successful people coming from different places, NBA, NFL, wherever, different teams, all kinds of experience in that room. Because again, you got to think about it. Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, Bob Myers, Rick Spielman, Mitchell Rales, Dave Blitzer, and then also Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney also thrown in there as well. That's a lot of people staring at one guy like, hey man, what's your pitch? How can you help us build the right organization? We're going to give you all of this power, but we need to know you're the right guy before that. And it's going to literally look like some cartoon with like a dark room and the light is only on the guy being interviewed, and it's going to be guys and high tables around him. I mean, that's got to be scary, man. You got to remember, managing partner Josh Harris, limited partners in Mitchell Rales, Magic Johnson, and David Blitzer, former Warriors GM Bob Myers, and former Vikings GM Rick Spielman. I mean, Lord have mercy. It's a lot of NBAers in there, a lot of NFLers in there, a lot of different perspectives, but most importantly, a lot of experience and confidence. And you better come ready for these interviews. If you want to be the head of football operations / GM for the Commanders, if you want to be the head coach for the Commanders, you better come in with your game face to these interviews. If you stutter once, it's probably a button to eject the floor from up under you and send you out the room or something like that. This is going to be an incredibly professional, but again, intimidating process for who we hire. Only a strong will survive is my main point, and I'm super excited about that, because whoever can survive that situation has to be ready. They're coming in with the utmost confidence and certainty in knowing what plan they have for the Commanders. You're gonna have to give these guys the vision. You got to sell them on the vision. This is what I plan to do with what you have. This is what I plan to do with this cap space, these draft picks. Let's get to work. And whoever ends up getting hired, I'm sure with all of these guys in the room, if everybody, all of those great minds can agree on one guy, I'm very sure that guy is the right guy for the job. I'm super excited. And again, to throw all of this out there at the same time as Ron Rivera's firing is very classy for them. And hey man, I've been telling y'all for several videos, Josh Harris has a plan. Now you're starting to see that plan unfold, and we're just in the beginning of it. I'm super excited, man. Super duper excited. And just to let you know, I agree with my boy Rio Robinson right now. With this front office that we're building together, with this coaching staff we're probably going to build, again, I'm giving this organization the benefit of the doubt until they lose it. So when it comes to what quarterback we take, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I like a lot of guys. I have some guys above others. But at the end of the day, whoever they choose, I just have no choice but with the way that they're going about things to trust that they went about it the right way and chose the right guy. And they're going to be willing to build the right offense around them, get the right offense alignment and weapons to put around them, going to design the right offense, call the right plays for them, all of that type of stuff. And that extends to the head coaching hires as well. Even though like the only guys I just really don't want are like Bill Belichick. And I would probably, I'm not going to lie, even maybe throw Eric Bieniemy in there as far as a head coaching goes. Like maybe he can stick around as like an offensive coordinator or something. But as head coaching wise, I just don't want Bill Belichick. And I'm really not. Bill Belichick is number one. Eric Bieniemy is probably like a distant second right now for who I don't want. But at the end of the day, whoever they bring in, I'm super excited. And just to let you know, I don't think Bill Belichick will be brought here. I highly doubt it. First of all, he's going to probably want more control than we're willing to give him, because you're coming here to be head coach and that's it. You're not coming here to run the organization like Bill Belichick did for the Patriots or how Ron Rivera just did for us for the last 4 years. This is not going to be a coach-centric model. And on top of that, Bill Belichick is still technically the head coach in New England. And the Falcons, if anybody, is one of the teams that's reportedly interested in getting them, not us. There's already been a disconnect there. John Comm already tweeted out and reported like a few days ago, it's literally not going to be Bill Belichick. Like he didn't say, I don't think it will be. I highly doubt it will be. He said literally it's just not going to be straight up. And John Comm is one of the closest people reporter wise to Josh Harris as it gets. So I believe him, man. So you don't have to worry about Bill Belichick. And I highly doubt it's Eric Bieniemy. We're already seeing players, including Samuel Cosmi, I'm doing a separate video on that as well, already coming out and saying that they did not like the offense. They felt we needed to run the ball more. And so there's already players speaking out against Eric Bieniemy. And we remember how that went last year for Scott Turner around this time, when guys like Logan Thomas was speaking out against them. Now you have players speaking out against Eric Bieniemy. So he's gone. He's not being brought back in any capacity. I highly doubt it right now. But we got a lot going on, because now I'm seeing an update that we are We put in a request to interview Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham, so that's another guy. And remember, with all of these GMs we're trying to bring in and guys like that, we are also, remember Josh Harris went to that GM summit where like all of the owners that are looking for GMs got to like actually speak to GMs and shake hands with them and meet them face to face, talk to them and things like that. It was basically like a owner GM conference type of thing. There were like 42 potential GM candidates, including guys like Ian Cunningham and guys like that. And there were reports that came out of there that said Josh Harris and David Tepper were the most aggressive and active there. And if you're being compared to the terrible David Tepper, who's basically the new Dan Snyder right now, Josh Harris is that lone owner sitting at the top like, man, this is just beaming with light to these potential GMs, and probably all 42 of those GMs, or at least the majority of them, are fighting to get the job from Josh Harris. I think if anything, we're not fighting for them. I think they're fighting against each other for us. I think we're the destination that people want to go because they know we're doing this the right way. So I'm super excited because even if we don't end up with Ian Cunningham, I don't think it's going to be because Ian Cunningham doesn't want to come to us. It's going to be a situation where we just chose to go with another guy because we preferred another guy over Ian Cunningham. I don't think we're going to, my main point is I don't think we're settling in this hiring process when it comes to GM, football operations, head coach, and all of that. I don't think we're settling. I think if anything, there's competition to land with us rather than the other way around. So I'm super excited because that lets me know we'll more than likely make the right hire. I'm super duper excited about where we're going with this, man, and it's just updates every 5 to 10 minutes. I can't even keep up. So yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section, let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release informative and opinionated videos just like this one. I'm all over the place, so much stuff going on. As I'm talking, I'm literally seeing new information and notifications from Twitter and stuff like that. It is chaos right now. Be on the lookout because I'm working on a video right now breaking down. It's going to come out right after this one about how we've reached out to Jim Harbaugh's agent and we've already requested to interview Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, and we're trying to interview, I think we're seeking to interview Glenn Cook, the Browns GM, and assistant GM, and Ian Cunningham, the Bears assistant GM, who was one of my favorite GM candidates out there. So Ian Cunningham being thrown out there along with Ben Johnson has me super excited. If we can hire both of those guys, you can't miss. We're Super Bowl contenders sooner rather than later. I'm super excited. So I'm working on those videos right now. Stay tuned. And man, I really appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for all of the content. So much content on the way, including that. I'm probably going to end up making several videos today. I'm scared, but it's work, and I'm super excited. Catch y'all later. I'm out.